Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to negotiations between the district and PBA, session number 3. In last session, we did end with, you came back with a counter on salary, but I believe you were going to go over some of the other things that we went through. And so if it's okay with you, I'd start with allowing you to go through, you sent a lot of proposals yesterday, so if you want to go through any of them.
Yeah, they are basically the same as last time. I was hoping we could also TA what we can TA. So I think we can TA 22 out of the 32 articles. I added 26, I just accidentally left that off the cover page. So I don't know if you had the chance to look at those. I initialed the version that I gave you because they should either be status quo or our proposals should match your proposals. So just let me know if you want to take more time to read through them. You can email me the signed copies.
I think we'll do that. Okay. Yeah. I did go through them this with Jermaine this morning, so I think we are good on a lot of them. So
Okay.
I do notice that there were some changes, though.
Yeah, I did make some changes, like I said. So I think the first open article, well, I did not TA the preamble because I don't really like to use the word successor because that can mean different things legally. But other than that, I think it should be the same. So that's not a big deal.
Okay.
The next open one is Article 6. So Section 6.1 and 6.2 are the same. And then I think your main concern last meeting was the programming of it. So we still think it's important to have a union time pool bank. And again, I like this version because we would only take the hours when we need them from the members. So that's the same language. I highlighted the new language. Speaking with Joe, this is something that we thought actually reflects what's happening right now instead of using like a hard copy bulletin board. If the chief and the president approve the material, and if the district wants to, because it would go through the chief, then we could send out notices through the email system. And then 6.6, I know we talked about this last time, and we said it needed to be clarified. I know one of our old reps, Officer O'Sullivan, used to do like meetings, right, Mike? Mike did them too, right? For 6.6, the PBA would sometimes address officers through like training and stuff like that. But I kind of spelled it out more of what we were thinking and how we would like it to be going forward. So I said, basically, once annually following each contract or reopener ratification, we would be allowed a 1-hour meeting with members during department-wide training. And then FTO's Officer I always mispronounce your name. LaPa. He suggested this, and I think it's a good idea to address all the new FTOs. So I know that might be a logistical thing.
The one thing on it wouldn't be the FTOs, it'd be the OITs.
Right.
So,
OITs.
no, yeah, the FTOs would be the trainers. You need to talk to the new
Right,
officers.
right,
So it'd be
OITs.
OITs
Okay.
instead of FTOs.
Okay.
Chief, are you okay with that, or
Yeah, that's fine.
how often does that happen?
Once.
Once, okay. So it would be your one time to get in front of the new officers?
Well, we have groups come in 2 at a time, 4 at a time, 7 at a time. So every time that new group comes in, then it would be great for us to have that opportunity for 30 minutes.
We can build it into the orientation. So they're in training in-house for a couple weeks. We could build it in there. It's just an information
Okay.
session.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'll change that one.
Can we go back to 6.3?
Sure.
I just need a little clarifications on what you're looking, are you suggesting that you would send an email to the employer email of the officers? Is that what that is?
I think we talked about this with Vicky. It may have been before you were
Probably, I don't
here.
recall this, yeah.
Yeah, so, and basically, we do this sometimes now anyway, if Chief Mooney is okay and approves it. Nothing like political or anything, basically because all the officers work at different schools. No one really comes and looks at the bulletin board. So if there's like a notice or something we want to get out, getting it out through the email system. And it would only be if she okays it, so.
And so you would send it to our email, is what you're saying?
Well, have you guys approve it, and then however you
And then-
wanted to get it
okay.
out to the officers.
I think so, like to have us send out a group message to
Right.
our officers on the department.
Because we do have most people's emails, but not all of them, so.
understood.
Right, this is a way we could guarantee everyone gets the message, because,
Like for ratification votes and
yeah.
things like that.
And under PERC, we're obligated to cover all the officers in the school police department, not just the union members, so they need to know what's going on with bargaining and so forth.
Yeah, like a good example Mike was saying was like the insurance thing that we did. Do you
Right.
remember that? Yeah.
Okay, we might need to think through that a little bit just to see, determine who's the one sending the email out.
I don't
Do you have
care
any
if you
preference
guys
on that?
do it, because you'd have to
Yeah.
approve it anyway, so
Okay.
I don't, because I can't do
You
it.
do.
We can't do it.
Okay, all right, I think that's what we would prefer, just to keep it, in that way we could keep it controlled, just because, who knows, right now, we have that
Right.
understanding.
No, I
you
can't
know.
do it anyway, because that's the point, because I want to reach all the unit members who may not necessarily be PBA members.
Got it,
And it would
okay,
have to be approved by a chief anyway, so.
okay,
Okay, I'll change the language for 6.6 then. So orientation's the same for all of the new officers, and that's,
They have the same schedule of things that they do, so we can just kind of build it into one of the, like, the first day that they're here, they get sworn in, they get strategics badges, they get their IDs, they do a lot of administrative stuff. It's probably the time to do it while they're still here, and then they're off to the hands-on training.
okay. The next open one, and stop me if you want to talk about another one, but I think I'm going to skip over the ones that I think we can TA. Article 10.
point 3,
Yeah, so this is just reflecting what I understood as the practice as it's happening now, based on the last meeting. So I said available school positions will be open to the members, but for bidding prior to the beginning of each new school year, not during the school year, and selection will be made prior to the beginning of the fall term and based on those bidding members' seniority. Because this was one of the most, people put this a lot on the survey we sent out, so.
yeah, I think, we just need some input here on what, I think there might be times where that might not work, and,
The preference will be to seniority, but there are going to be those outlier times, so I think that the chief should have the opportunity to be the one that's the tiebreaker. If I've got two people, like, I may not give, depending on the seniority and the levels, there's going to be other things that play into it. If I have somebody that's been at a school for 10 years, and they're 6 months shy of somebody else in the district, I may be inclined to let that person that's been in a school 10 years stay in their school as opposed to get bumped out.
Right.
So,
so that would be, those wouldn't be considered though, right? You're not
Right.
shuffling everybody, it's
you
just.
might, no, we do bids every year, so if
We're only
that's the time of the year to
thinking-
change.
We're only thinking for like the places with an opening. That's what.
Yeah,
right?
we're not trying to.
During the year.
No,
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 at the end of the year, like,
Okay.
everybody
I got
bids
you.
on, bids on their schools, but it's an open school. We would never.
To try to do the whole,
Like
yeah, I
bump
don't want to
somebody
hold
out.
like a shift bid thing.
No.
Okay, yep, I'm good with that.
Okay.
let me just make sure I'm reading through this, okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant by available. So if you want to use like a different,
Like vacant,
unassigned, okay.
right, or unassigned, yeah. Just something, yeah, I think that's important. You wouldn't bump somebody out of their job, right, okay.
Right. Okay, yeah, we're fine with that. Okay, the next one is 14. So this is funeral expenses and death benefits, and we left it the same. Because if you look at the statute, it kind of, I don't know. I think that they include things in unintentional or accidental deaths that should not be or can be like arguable. Like, I think the statute has like an example of accidental is like if you're engaged in fresh pursuit or if there's like a reasonable belief that there's an emergency going on or something like that. And so if that's going to be considered accidental, we put 100 there. And I think that the statute has 75. And then 225 is the same statutory requirement, I think, for intentionally killed. Hopefully this never comes into play. I don't think that it has. And then we kept the funeral expenses there. Do you guys carry insurance for this, or are you self-insured for this, or?
We're self-insured.
Self-insured, in case you didn't hear that. So on 14.1 and 14.2, we're still we're status quo with, well, we're with what our proposal was at the last session,
Okay,
which is basically in alignment with the statute. So whatever amounts are listed in the statute, that's what
okay.
is our position.
All right, I think we're the status quo in our offer for now, but we'll talk about it. Next is 16. So 16.2, we came to the 600, which I think was your counter last time. And then 16.4 and 16.5, we would need to discuss because the amount, I think, aligns now for 16.5, but the ESU is what we added. And then 16.4, the officers I'm hearing do still use their personal phones because there is really poor service sometimes and with the radios and stuff like that, so they do.
Radios, I think, are brand new.
Okay, I'm hearing that they still have to use their iPhones a lot because sometimes there's.
Their personal iPhone shouldn't work any better than the iPhones we issue.
Right.
So I'm not inclined to agree to that one. They have their work phone that's issued to them.
Okay,
They can have their iPhones with them if they choose to
I'm hearing the opposite, so,
have your officers right here saying that?
Yeah.
That you don't have an
So-
iPhone issued to
so-
you?
So out of the last bunch of years, several years, our radios worked since Friday. So that's why we've been arguing this for the longest time. Actually, I get reception now in my office and so forth, but as a requirement from the department, we were told to give dispatch our personal cell phone numbers, and like I have AT&T as my carrier, and, I'm sorry, T-Mobile, and AT&T is the department carrier. So in certain areas, one will work and not the other. And in my area, T-Mobile works better than the other, so I only got calls on my personal cell phone, or I call dispatch that way because my radio wouldn't transmit. But as of Friday, that may have changed.
Okay.
Right, so.
And I would still say that, so the radios were all, I mean, the phones were issued within the past year to replace the Sonims, which were junk, and those didn't work, and that was the reason that we issued the phones. So you have something that works, that's a tool that we're paying for, that if it breaks, we'll replace it for you. I'm not inclined to move on the amount for a personal cell phone. That's
I
just
just
my
think
opinion.
everyone still carries their personal cell phone.
I do too.
So
If I break it, I break it.
If you're in the work field doing, your duties and it breaks, then it makes sense that everyone's gonna carry it. And I think the CTA does have,
So, yeah, you brought that up last time on the CTA. So that's in the event of an assault.
well,
Right.
they're
Is-
more
is
likely
what-
to be involved in something.
So I think we're willing to maybe go in there, if we draft some language where it's something like that, I think we have somewhere to work. We can work with that, mirroring some of what you see in CTA. It's pulling it, because it's broken up differently in the way it is in the CTA contract, but there's some conditions that you have to meet for it to be paid. So I think we'd be willing to do
Well, we
that.
could see what you come up with, but they have very different jobs.
Oh, I understand. I'm not trying to say that, I think you have to put some conditions around it, so it's just like, oh, my phone, I was walking through the hallway and my phone dropped, I'm in my.
Right, and I don't
performing my
think we
duty.
want that, that's not
Right.
what
In the
we're intending.
performance of police action or police duty or something to that effect. More of a line of duty thing, not an on-duty thing.
Can I just give you an example?
Sure.
I had an old partner who got into a scuffle he was breaking up a fight. He had on his eyeglasses, and his eyeglasses got broken during the fight. And, that's something that we would want to get reimbursed. And I think that's what we mean by the iPhone also. If we get into a scuffle or something like that, and our iPhone falls out of our pocket and it breaks during the scuffle, I think we should be able to get reimbursed for that.
I think we could do something to meet, I guess, meet in the middle, all right? I think we can. I think we'll write up some language then to draft that to account for certain instances, but it's just, we have to, it can't just be a wide open just in the course of their, you know, their duties. You know, I mean, we're always on duty, right?
You did? Okay, then we'll wait on that. Get this.
One more on the 16.5 for ESU. I still don't think that should be included in there, because they don't have a mandatory assignment in plain clothes, technically speaking. The main thing that they do out of uniform is, and sometimes they're in uniform, sometimes they're not, work in the board meetings. That's optional. I don't have a problem putting them all in uniforms.
Okay. All right, I'll talk to them about that. That might be better anyway. Did you have a question? Can we caucus really quick? We're gonna caucus to talk about 17 and then we'll come back.
On 17?
Yeah, I want to clarify something.
Okay. B, so you have the room right next door here, B.
I guess we want to know logistically how it's set up right now with like annual leave versus, I know the sick and personal days are in their own bank together, but is annual leave in there right now, or is
It's
it?
separate. It's in there, you choose from it. When you're selecting an absence, you choose either annual, you choose personal, which does come out of the sick pool, but there's 6 days designated for personal use each year, and then the rest is sick, and then there's also bereavement, there's jury duty,
But it's
without
actual,
pay.
like the annual leave is in a separate bank.
bucket, yeah, it's like you have a sick personal bucket, or sick bucket, personal bucket, an annual bucket, bereavement bucket.
Okay, I'm just talking about like actually on like the system.
So I guess what she's asking is, even though it may be separated in what you're saying is in different sick, personal,
In the contract.
in the contract, does anyone, if you take a regular vacation day, does it affect your overtime?
It's just not included in the calculation of the overtime right now.
So if I work 32 hours and I take a vacation day, the first 8 hours that I work of overtime counts as straight time?
Yes, because a vacation time is not time worked.
Okay, so, yeah, so that's,
Right, but I thought you wanted to know logistically, like in the system.
no, I understand how it is. So they can separate it, but for 10-month employees, it's still all in the same bank, basically.
Right, because you don't have annual time.
Correct.
So you have the sick
So
time,
just because
and then
it's
you
sick,
have the
yes.
personal time.
Yeah, so the only thing different now is with annual time is just, it's got its own line item.
You
So
just
it's-
get the annual.
And you get more,
just-
and you get annual,
And you get annual leave, yeah,
which you get, when you get paid out annual leave too, when you leave.
correct. But it's
Right, I
still-
was wondering just logistically in the
Yeah.
computer if it was the same or different. Okay, all right, so our offer here's the same. This is from PBSO Article 27 to change the calculation of the overtime. And then I did change the comp time a bit to make it 78 hours so that it's more of a clean calculation based on time and a half. And then the same, Section E is 54 to 78. And I think our main concern is the annual reoccurring. They just want to be able to keep it instead of having to get paid out every year if they so choose. Other than the numbers, the language is all the same as last time.
Yeah, we're still at our same position that we presented last session.
Okay, you guys talked about it. You don't need to caucus or anything?
No.
Okay, do you guys have counters today, or you're just,
Yeah, we have a couple, yeah.
okay, all right, because it's the same pretty much, this article. I think all of the offers are the same, because we were really waiting to hear back from you all on the monetary components.
So on the, all right, is that where you're looking to just get into that now? Okay, so on the salary and the base salary increase, we are at the same proposal we were at last session. We're at 5% plus a 3% one-time bonus or $1,500, whatever's greater for this unit would, I believe would all be 3%. We do have a sergeant's job description and process that, selection process, that we, I think we're both on the same page that we're looking for a change at that. So we do have that to review. And then the other piece that we came back on was the workers' comp. I saw you highlighted some language in the workers' comp.
Yeah, it's the same, I just wanted to talk more about the doctor's appointments.
Yeah, so I didn't know if maybe you wanted whatever, I didn't know what the highlighted meant.
It meant to just talk about it, because
Okay.
it's the same. It's just logistically, I don't know where you guys stood on that. Sure, go ahead, Jen.
So the 10 days apparently is already in the contract.
Right.
We were just asking for 3 additional days of just going to appointments. If we have to go to an appointment during our work schedule to get, if we can get relieved.
Just being allowed to go on
Right.
your work time for the first
Right.
three.
Right, so what we were coming back on that was during the work time only when given prior approval by the chief of police. So we're not against it, we just want to make sure we have coverage, so that is something that we are willing to work with you on.
Okay, I think all of our proposals were basically the same. If you have one you actually want to talk about, then let me know.
Okay.
I don't think the 5% is going to cut it. I don't think it's competitive, so,
I understand it's not, what you were looking for. I think, though, for the last 3 years, we've given 5%, which was more than any other group. Last year, 7%, more than any other group. And this year, what we've allocated is 5%.
okay, the teachers didn't, they got a lot more last time. They got 7.5.
I'm saying last year. Last year was, when you got 7%, they got 3.5%. So we have been giving pretty competitive raises as far as we're concerned, and I know it's not 12% like you were asking for, but that is where we're at.
We actually counted 10.
Well,
Based on the
in
supplement.
this, that was only if we went on Glade supplement and other supplements that you were asking for, I believe.
I can't speak because I wasn't here for that, but, I mean, it's still coming in with something, and we were expecting something in return to negotiate. I mean, that's kind of what we're here, when it's kind of a waste of time, sitting here going back and forth.
Well, we went back to
Negotiating
our
against
team.
ourselves.
Well, no, not necessarily. You don't have, I'm not asking you to come down on, I mean, it's your position. Our position is, we went back and talked about it as a team, and we're at 5%.
Do you want to go over the starting for 10 minutes?
Well, the growth in the market value is adding to the school budget. It's also adding to the sales tax revenue for the state. You have 12,700 teachers ballpark, correct, in the CTA? And we have about
Approximately.
200 officers, which is kind of noise compared to the other bargaining unit. I know a lot of times you say that we're not a municipality, right? But during the Public Employee Relations Commission that we had, PERC, that hearing, you used other police departments, I have it here, to compare us with other salaries, to come up with your numbers.
Sure.
You
We've
compared us
never
to
said
6
that we
school
don't
police
compare.
departments.
But we've never said we don't compare ourselves to the local market. We always have. We compared ourselves to both school districts that have their own police force, where we were by far, and I mean by far, the highest paid agency there is in the state of Florida. Where
some are
Miami
not accredited.
was
Some aren't even
$20 per hour.
accredited.
We were at, after the raise, 30 some dollars, 30.
Yeah, but that was just
And then
hourly
with the
wage.
local municipalities, what we were, after the raise, we were still in the, at least I'd say the top,
You claim
5
number
agencies
6.
or
Out of
6
22 departments, you claim we were number 6.
So that was before, that was with a 3.5% raise maybe, or something like that, but after the 7% raise, we are above that.
Yeah, solely hourly wage. That is in effect for about 47 minutes when you get hired on this job. And all the time going forward, then we're in a different universe as far as salaries. We have COLA, we have a step, we have longevity. All the other departments have that. So what I'm getting at is if you're using these as arguments, we should be able, and PERC actually, the magistrate decided in our favor highly and used our examples of wages, including COLA and longevity and step programs, and said, I think to the point where if we asked for 20 at that point, we would have got awarded that much. That's how this decision went. That
I think
decision was
looking at the
devastating.
stats, it's just, you say that you're very competitive, but I did not agree with a lot of your stats that I've seen. I just don't. And you never mentioned the referendum money. And I think teachers are on year 5. And if you have 10 years or more, you get 10 grand. So where is that? That's similar to longevity. So,
What do you mean, where is that?
like, where is that for the sworn? I don't see it. It goes to their, it's pensionable. It hasn't even been that long since we talked about stats. based on the contracts and the reopeners that we have seen, like I said, PBSO got 10, Martin got 10. No, I think Martin may have gotten 12, Stewart got 10. It's hard to find cops and good cops.
I
and they
recognize
need-
that.
5%
I
is
do.
not, it's not gonna cut it, so.
And Perk agreed with that, using
Well,
those
it was
as
a special
examples.
magistrate
Because they're
gave
saying
their
this is
recommendation.
the
It wasn't
total,
Perk.
this is how much you earn a year, is really what they went by, not
Joe's
just one
talking
thing.
about market stats, not that much time has passed. You guys still, you need to keep up with it. So 5% is not, it's not comparable.
Yeah, and listen, and these other departments that came from, other school police departments, the other 6, you know, they're spread out throughout the state. They're not all Palm Beach County. They're not even close. They're on the north coast, the west coast,
The
they're
other
all over the
school
place.
districts, you mean?
Yeah, the other school district
One of them
police
is Miami
departments.
Dade, which I would say, you know, they have about 500 officers.
Right, and
Where they're
have a
hourly-
step, which, again,
Their step, though, I mean, it would take you 7 years to probably even get close to our starting salary.
They have a lot of other monetary benefits in their contract.
Well, with all due respect, I believe we do too.
Well, I would like to see a counter on the supplements if you have one.
and you yourself used as an argument for the school teachers when you sat down at the joint workshop the other day. You said that the high cost of living in Palm Beach County was, it was hard to stay competitive in order to attract more school teachers. Well, the same goes for police officers.
So listen, I'm not here to say that it's not expensive for everyone. It's expensive for officers, it's expensive for everybody in this organization, right? Palm Beach County is an expensive place to live, I get that. I'm not saying it's just expensive for teachers. It's expensive for our employees who earn even lower than what officers earn. I'm just saying this is how much money we have here. This is how much money we have.
Right.
I think Mr. Burke, he got 9.5, and I think the reasons they gave were basically scarcity and quality, and that's the same issues you have going on still in the police department.
I'm not gonna, get into that. That's not correct. I don't have the exact details of Mr. Burke's raise, but it was not 9%. That was.
It was
I believe-
public.
9.5%.
It was-
I believe it was a mistake on the
was
part of
advertised.
the Post. I'm sorry?
It-
Do you have any information?
Yeah, I can look to get what the actual amount was. That was not a correct amount that was provided by the Post.
But they allowed it, but then how come nobody corrected it?
No, the information was relayed to the Post reporter to correct, and I don't believe she did correct it.
Was it at least 7?
I don't
No.
know.
So we gotten everything, so we gotten it listed as 9.5% for the superintendent. We got everywhere between 7.5 and approximately 11 to 12% for the teachers, depending on the referendum money and the 3% or $1,500.
Some are getting 7.5
Correct.
and the bonus
That's what I'm
plus the
saying.
referendum, yeah.
So we're talking, that's where I'm getting 7 to 12% from, at the minimum. And we're getting offered 5%.
The referendum is not new. This is the same referendum money that they've been receiving.
Okay.
It is not new.
Yeah, that we
Right.
were told that we were not eligible to receive towards our salaries until we had to have a hearing on it.
Right. Is that, I also saw in the news and the papers and so forth that the school budget was 5.3 billion, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so is it also correct to say that that's the biggest budget you ever had in the history of this county, of the school district?
You have to take into consideration that's not just the general fund. That's the general fund as well as capital.
Well, is it the highest budget ever, pretty much?
I would have to go back to
see that?
verify that, but yes, I do believe it is.
Okay.
And just touching on the sergeant's pay plan, I mean, 10% it's very reasonable when you look at other contracts. I think a lot of sergeants are starting like 113 plus in the step plan. They have their own step plan. So 10% is very reasonable.
I think some of the issues there is the number of ranks that we have in this system where when you start pushing, if they were to get that kind of increase, 100 plus, they'd be higher than our lieutenants and probably other positions as well.
It's already like that for some of them, depending on how long you've been here.
at other agencies, compression's always an issue, so that's not an excuse to just not be competitive.
Well, we do have, you know, a plan they will get an increase, but I don't think it's the same as what you're looking for, and it's definitely not to start over 100.
No, I don't think our offer is either. I'm just saying that's why our offer is very reasonable.
Did you have a counter for the sergeants?
Yeah, we do. Caitlin, you want to pass that out?
And also, just real quick, maybe it's just a rumor, but did the state give the school districts a surplus of money this year for bonuses that
Not that I'm aware of. What specifically?
I don't, I just, maybe it was just a rumor. I was told that they were given a surplus of money for the bonuses
Right.
that they're giving, that 3% or $1,500 that they're giving out again this year. We're trying to give
The
out.
state is not giving out $1,500 or 3%.
No, I didn't say that, but I gave you a surplus of money for, okay.
Not that I'm aware of, no. I mean, there are some funds set aside that the state is giving for eligible employees, but that's coming directly from the state. It is not being filtered through the district.
Well, that's what I'm asking. So when you say for eligible employees, what do you mean by that?
You'd have to go back and look at it. I mean, if they, help me, Tim, isn't it the ones that are the veterans, they get some sort of?
I'm not aware of it, to be honest with you.
We can,
Yeah, I mean, we would have to go back and look to see.
All right,
if there were any
that's fine.
specific programs, but it's nothing that's going through the district.
And
Something that-
my error, because I don't have more information, I was just told that there was a surplus of money that was to be used for certain bonuses. But we'll look into it. Thank you.
I would like to say, I don't know if this is just like a bullet point thing, but I want to keep the base criteria and the promotional exam process in the contract.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, I don't know if this is just like for us to discuss or not, but I do want to keep the promotional exam process and the base like criteria in the contract.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So what we have here is a job description to create it, so it's not an assignment any longer, but, you know, some of the qualifications and pieces that were in the contract were pulled into the job description, but ultimately, the chief has outlined the process that, you know, yes, we would put it into the contract. We just think that there's probably some back and forth we'll have to do on this before we get to where we're gonna land. So this is what we have. And Chief, if you want to explain any of this, that'd be great.
I think basically we're all on the same page with wanting to make that sergeant's position a true promotion as opposed to an assignment, where that would kind of eliminate the assignment pay. We establish its own position. Some of the things they're in the current contract regarding the process and that kind of thing, some of them I agree with, some of them I think we need to expand on. That's what the bullet points are. Just some suggestions on how to kind of work with the language in there a little bit, because I think there's things that aren't taken into consideration, like seniority points, education points, that kind of thing that would be added on to the end of a process. The process itself, it's not very well-defined. I would like to work on doing that a little bit better. And then in addition to that, the 10% rule on a list, what does that mean? Is it 10% at the beginning of the list? Is it 10% at the end of the list? So most other places have either a rule of 3 or rule of 5. I would rather work that into the language on a position too. I think this is kind of our first shot at this. We're more than willing to discuss the different options here. You guys take a little time to digest it and whatnot, but I think this is something where we can really get to the bottom of it and get something that everybody can agree on.
Okay.
But that's more standardized, and it's truly you're going through a process that when you get done with it, you know that you're being competitive with other people who are qualified to do the job.
Did you take this from somewhere? Is it from West Palm or?
Experience and my suggestions on how we can make this better.
Okay.
Some of them have a little bit of just the ceremony twist on them, but some of them are from past experience and past processes that I've been through and/or been an assessor on.
Okay. Is the district still proposing to keep it at like 5,000 somehow, or what is?
So it is, Mark, you want to get into that? Mike?
The minimum of the sergeant would be set 10% above the minimum of the officer, so that would move with the officer's rate. And then the promotional increase would be 5% or minimum of the grade.
Okay, I'll probably go through and like try to parse this out in writing and see how it changes things and talk with the reps about it.
Okay.
I don't know if you have a counter to the other supplements. I did add a footnote about the acting sergeants, because there's always been acting sergeants. The issue is just if they're temporary or not, so, because there should be like a deadline.
The acting sergeants, are you talking about during the?
I'm trying to find the
something,
page
ULP?
to the, go to the assignments.
So, yeah, we were not, we're status quo, we're, you know, on where we're at with the last one on that. The only thing about that, the assignment being temporary, one pay period, you know, I don't really see much concern with limiting the amount of time that you spend in that role, but one pay period might not be enough.
There should be a list, so it's just to give the chief time to pick from the list.
Understood.
Quick question too on this sergeant here. So it says, for salary level minimal $34.74 an hour, and that's at 250 days at 69,476. Is that, as considered a 12-month?
Yeah, it's 250 duty day.
Be 12-month. So that's approximately $3,000 less than a starting 12-month employee.
No, I don't believe so. Mark? We're weighing in on the minimum
69?
12-month.
64,160 starting salary.
It's intended to be 10% above the officer's minimum. If the number's not right, we'd make it right.
That's definitely not
obviously.
right then. No,
Fine.
I'm just checking, because I mean, I'm just saying that doesn't, yeah.
10% above the minimum of the officer.
Okay, so 10% above both the 12-month and the 10-month then.
If long as it's the same
hourly
rate, yes.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about the eval sheet. What do you want to do with that?
I would like to revamp it, but to be honest with you, haven't really looked at it to be able to do that.
Okay.
To speak on it today, but I would like to change up what we have.
You guys have thoughts on that?
Trying to reduce it a little bit?
Yeah, the whole idea of that, what is it, the one getting 165, I think that was kind of just an arbitrary number that somebody came up with in order to determine how to do the bonuses and that kind of thing. I think we can standardize it a lot more than what it is now. I mean, I'd be willing to sit down and have a evaluation committee look at what we need to do, but I'd like it more standardized like our FTO evaluations go, so that the officers know exactly what you're going to be looking at and that we're just not throwing spaghetti at the wall to get to 165 points.
I had a question on this last one. One, non-acceptable rating.
Katie, I don't know if you want to discuss the other, you had some concerns. You said we could talk about it today about, I think it was call-out procedures.
Yeah, I don't know if
K-9.
there's a new policy on that, but I've been hearing like some people ask me about it, so I haven't seen anything. So is there like a new procedure or something with people on call?
No, the only thing that's in there is that if you were called out, that if you're out on a call already, you potentially may be asked to go to something secondary.
Only
all
if you're already out?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And nothing has been changed with like the pay or anything?
no.
Okay.
That's always been like that, too.
No, it'd be, yeah, so if something pops up, it's not like, if you were out on a call for a half hour, you're out there, you're getting your minimum pay anyhow, but if, we may ask you to do another call on your way out if you're still out working.
Okay.
This means if you get,
I'm just asking them about Article 27,
get
art evaluation. But that doesn't sound right to me, right?
no.
Okay. Yeah, we would just like to talk more, maybe next time, about Article 27.
And that's all going to depend on what the evaluation revamp is anyway, so.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about, what time is it? Oh, we have plenty of time. We'll go caucus on the sergeants.
Okay.
And come back.
Okay.
Okay. right. I'm just gonna go through, I guess we can discuss the sergeants first. So I'm gonna go back and rewrite the contract provisions, just so to make sure we're all on the same page. So I think we were happy with pretty much everything. The description didn't have like the military time, but I see that the bullet points do, so the military service is an option. I think the only thing we wanted that differed was for the written test, we wanted to keep it at 2/3. And that's max 5 points, not 0.5, right? Just to make sure. For seniority points.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you saying the military, not in the job description?
Well, really, it should match the contract and the job description, so I just wanted to clarify that. And then they wanted to make sure that it would not be mandatory to be a 12-month employee. Right, okay. And then our,
Well, that's, it depends on whether or not we make this its own position.
I guess that's what we wanted to
So
talk
like
about.
right now, you have the option for the 10 or the 12 as an officer. So that would be some, I hadn't even thought about that. Ideally, I'd like to be in 12 months. But then do we have to give options to those that are in the position now? So they have the option now.
Yeah, and I think they want to keep that option, definitely, so.
I'm sure we could figure that out. I just I didn't know if you had any, or do you have some right now who are,
Yeah, I think
Less than 12 months.
you went to 12 though, didn't you? Yeah. There's a couple that are, yeah, that had been, yes.
okay.
Yeah, I'm okay, well, obviously, pay rate's gonna be impacted by that too.
Right, 'cause
So you might
it's
have two
hourly.
people that get promoted at the same time, that if we go percentage-wise, well, no, it'd be the same, I guess.
Yeah, it's just hourly.
The other question I have is if you want to stick with 2/3 for the written, is 75% okay, though, instead of 80, because you have 80% right now as passing?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good with that. Yeah, I think we were pretty much good with everything except for the 2/3 and then that still retaining the option, 10 versus 12 months, and then our pay scale is the same, that proposal that we proposed. And then, I know that we're getting close on time, but I'll just go through what I think is left for open, so if you could just get back to us on the TAs, I'm just gonna go through what I have as open, pretty much. The preamble, I just didn't like the successor language, but I think, I'm sure we can come to an agreement on that. Article 2, that's just the unit thing, so that'll just depend on the perk proceedings. 6 is, 6.3, I didn't know if you guys wanted to get back to us on that or discuss it more. 6.6, I can propose alternative language based on what we talked about for orientation. Article 10, I'm fine with unassigned instead of available, so maybe we can TA that as well. And then we can add language saying like seniority. Is that the only factor used now, or you said there's others if you're in like a bind or something?
There might be a need for somebody that speaks a different language if the
Okay.
population, so there are a couple little ancillary things.
I'll
It wouldn't
just
be
rewrite that
strictly- Yeah,
to
it wouldn't be
kind of-
strictly seniority, but that would be a priority.
Okay, I'll just rewrite 10.3. And then 14. This we're going to talk about further. I wouldn't think that this should be such a big deal because hopefully you never will have to use it. But that's open. 16 through 18 is open. 16, I think that, oh, I'm sorry, you guys said you were going to propose
Right, we'll
language.
come back with something on,
Okay, I think we're fine with 16.2 and 16.5. I think that we both agree on the amounts now, and I'm fine with taking out ESU if they can wear their uniforms. I think that's better. 17 is still open. For the comp time, I think that we're okay keeping it at the current amount, if you let them have the option to roll over a certain amount. Are you guys good with 24 hours rollover? So the comp time will be willing to say, keep it at the current amount, which is like the 60 hours at the time and a half. If you let them roll over the 24, all the other offers we have are gonna be the same. And then calendar, if you can get back to us on the July calendar.
I think we talked about this. We're good with this.
Oh, you're good? Okay, good. All right, perfect. And then, 18, I think we're okay getting rid of the paid parental leave. Let me see. I don't know if you guys have more questions, or did you guys give us language on the workers' comp?
I have some written out, but I told you what I wrote out just to see if that's something that, because I felt like we had something, I saw you highlighted it, and there was maybe discussion we needed to have, because I felt as
That's
though-
just status quo. I guess I highlighted the wrong part. It's really just like them being able to take the doctor's appointments on their.
Right, but what you said about it, you already have those 10 days, that's where, there was some, that's where I was like, what are we talking about? So, I'm good with bringing back language that we discussed.
For them to go to doctor's
Yeah.
appointments on their
Yeah.
work time? Okay. Okay, yeah, sorry, I go crazy with the highlighting sometimes. And then 46, page 46, I changed it to chief of police, so I don't know if that's an issue, but, so hopefully we can TA 18. And then, 20, I'm disappointed in the counter, so, I don't know, maybe you guys can talk about that more, but 20 will remain the same. 21, I'm gonna rewrite for the discussions on the sergeants. And I think the last one is 27. And that's the eval, so maybe we can talk about the eval next time. And I had a question on that last sentence, because that didn't seem right to me. I don't know if that's how that works now, but if you get one not acceptable, then you're overall unsatisfactory. That's page 69 in ours.
And did you guys have something in mind, too, that you wanted for an evaluation? Utilize?
We don't have it developed yet, but it's gonna, the scale will be smaller. So you, instead of being on like a 7 or a 9-point scale, I'd rather go down to 5 and then highlight and/or define what those numbers are a little bit better. So this language might change anyway, based on how we develop that, but we'll move it forward as quick as possible.
When's our next, do we have another meeting scheduled? No?
No.
Okay, all right. I know you guys are like off some, so just, if you give me dates, that'd probably be.
Okay.
All right. I'll get
All
back
right.
to you soon.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day, everybody.